Welcome back to Unemployment News. I had a dream last night that I was a Mexican facing deportation from Trump himself, and instead of going quietly, I challenged him to a 1v1 in Fortnite, and I fully boxed this dude, which is weird because I usually play zero build, and I clipped him so hard that he let me stay. Holy shit, I just hit a clip! I'm not even Mexican, so perhaps this is a sign from God or something. Maybe he sent the wrong person the wrong dream. I don't even know, man. Anyways, YouTube has monetized my channel again, and the job offer I filled out last week is requesting my ID, so I'm probably getting hired.
Oh! Ew! Dude! What the fuck?
And we're close to 4K subs. Life's definitely looking good right now. We out here stacking paper. So if you want to invest in the future president of the world and sexiest man alive, aka moi, then true children of Jesus will subscribe and hit the bell and join the Discord and DM me their social security number. Take it away, me. Thank you, me. Elden Ring's Night Rain DLC was released a few days ago as of time of writing, and while people were very excited to jump back in and get their prostates massaged by eldritch beings beyond comprehension, there was a big fat fuck in the room that no one was notified about. FromSoft multiplayer. What the fuck? Now, according to the voices in the back of my head that never stop talking, the game is possible to beat solo, with enemy health and stats being toned down for one player. But Night Rain was primarily designed for multiplayer, much like Warframe, where boss battles can become tedious and annoying when you had to do something that 3 people could split up and do very quickly. Unfortunately, From Software is about on par with Nintendo when it comes to making games that require an internet connection. First, the game is 3-player focused. You can't play with 2 people, so you're forced to have little Timmy with level 0 vigor and a stick on your team. It sounds like you don't have any. Shut the fuck up. Even if you do have friends that play the game, there's no crossplay. No crossplay in the big 2025 for a multiplayer game is crazy. I thought we already abolished Jim Crow, but fuck you. Stay on your side of the fence, I guess. And on top of that, if a player leaves because they understandably don't want to spend 40 minutes whacking at Big Rick the bussy fucker without being able to take a shit, you two plebs are gonna have to spend the next 30 minutes beating him to death with a pool noodle.
And I'm gonna be beating you to death with this crowbar if you don't like and subscribe.
All of these issues are things that will probably be fixed by like November, but I'm just warning any Elden Ring fans so they know what they're getting into. Disney is threatening to release a new Star Wars movie, and they have since made every Star Wars fan start shaking in fear like maracas. This is kind of old news, very old news actually, but I'm just talking about it now because I was too busy experiencing my CP. But in all seriousness, some interesting stuff has been announced. That's sort of why I'm talking about it. Please comment. Shut the fuck up about Star Wars, Mr. Horse. Nobody cares. Anyways, first up, The Mandalorian and Grogu is a new announced movie that's scheduled for release in May 2026. The Mandalorian was enjoyable, but it did go a little too heavy on the cameos. Especially with the amount of money that was spent on Luke's CGI, it's not worth it at that point in my opinion. Dave Filoni specifically spams the fuck out of cameos. Dave Filoni shows be like, while this scene was happening, Ahsoka was down the street selling hot dogs, Cal Kestis was playing Just Dance with Darth Vader, R2-D2 was being used as a Minecraft server on Coruscant, and Luke is here for some reason because why the hell not? Made some certified bangers, but he's also Canadian, which is too close to him being French for my liking. Ahsoka Season 2 is in development. Star Wars Outlaws is getting DLC, but it's Star Wars Outlaws, so nobody's playing that shit. Darth Maul is getting his own animated show, Maul Shadow Lord, and apparently it's gonna be about how he isn't a purely evil guy, he's just an anti-hero. Despite being a war criminal, wanted intergalactic fugitive, and murderer of countless innocents. His story is really entertaining though, so I might watch. But one announcement I noticed wasn't talked about at all was the Rey movie that was announced a few years ago. Rey's entire character concept was a great example of brilliant idea, horrible execution. Let's give one of the most iconic Star Wars villains a grandchild, not expand on the topic of her parents at all, and make her a Mary Sue. We could have gotten the classic, oh, she's too strong for her own good and she refuses to use her gift because she doesn't want to hurt anyone trope. There, I just improved her character with a single sentence. Or maybe Rey falls to the dark side while Kylo Ren reconnects with the light side and the final movie is them fighting with the roles reversed. That'll be pretty tough. I like that. So much potential squandered just so they could remake A New Hope. Either way, she was supposed to be getting her own movie and we have received little to no updates on it, which is kind of weird. It shouldn't be taking this long. So they've either all but canceled it or maybe they're taking some extra time to cook. You really can't tell with Disney these days. I'm praying that it's the latter. Please don't shit the bed again, Disney. EA's upcoming Black Panther game has been canceled, and as a black white supremacist supremacist, gay, Jew, Nazi, Grand Wizard, gay rights activist. Hallelujah. I am so tired of these porch monkey spook ass niggas getting their own jigaboo games. Nobody wants to see them hooting, hollering baboons on their screen, chimping out and shit. If I wanted to see a black guy beat the shit out of somebody, I'll just turn on the 6 o'clock news type shit. But real talk, why was it canceled, and why does my house Negro ass think that's a good thing? Well, first, EA says that the layoffs are to sharpen our focus and put our creative energy behind the most significant growth opportunities. A lot of the usual bootlickers have the idea that it was in some way targeted because of the nature of the game, but it most likely was not. The next Titanfall game was also canceled, along with a bunch of other projects. We're not pulling the race card with this one. Fuck that. But the reason I personally see this as a W is quite simply because of the rampant racism that the story writer and people working on the game seem to enjoy vomiting into the world. Danielle Lalanders, who is the story writer, is someone who has said, and I quote, "No bullshit, I know the best way for the environment to be safe is to be around people who are just like me, and I'm not saying that white people in the industry are creating unsafe environments. I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that sometimes it's hard to work with white people because they think that something might be okay, but it was really a microaggression, and no one wants to deal with that when you're trying to make a game that they love." Okay, so let's do a thought experiment and reverse the races real quick just to make sure that holds up. I know the best way for the environment to be safe is to be around white people who are just like me. And I'm not saying that black people in the industry are creating unsafe environments. I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that sometimes it's really hard to work with black people because they think that something might be okay, but it was really a certified nigga moment, and no one wants to deal with that while they trying to make a game that you love. Yeah, that doesn't sound very good, does it? Because that's what I hear when somebody says some bullshit of this caliber. First of all, microaggressions don't exist. Aggression implies that it's intentional. A woman moving her purse off of the seat next to her to make room for a guy to sit down can be a quote-unquote microaggression if the guy perceives it differently. You don't know what the reason behind certain actions are unless somebody tells you directly. And assuming that it's internalized racism or misogyny when a guy is just trying to lighten the mood with a joke is exactly why interactions with certain coworkers at jobs feels like tightrope walking over a vat of lava, and ironically makes them more aware of you, which in turn leads to them acting differently around you, which is also a microaggression. Around and around and around we go. Second, the amount of people who refuse to acknowledge racism as a two-way street and turn a blind eye to this shit is crazy. In fact, the idea of her even having a job in this field is making me depressed and even thinking about it. Prejudice plus Power is a wacky-ass conspiracy theory because it has implications that make no sense. For instance, Larry Fink and Elon Musk, two of the most powerful men in the world, are Jewish. By Prejudice plus Power logic, I should be able to bump my favorite new Yay song at the local synagogue, because these two Jewish people have the most power in the world, so I can't be offensive towards them. If I grab a bowl of popcorn and start laughing at a World War II documentary like it's an episode of The Office, that's not anti-Semitic. You can't be anti-Semitic because the guys at the top are all Jewish. This makes zero fucking sense. Just stop taking y'all seriously when y'all start running around saying white people can experience racism, because I did not suffer through 2020 for y'all to act like you weren't an ally to BLM 4 years later. Alright, and the suffering in question is being forced to work a cushy desk job from home. Billions must virtue signal on Twitter. So, in conclusion, the deep fryer is calling your name, Danielle. I never thought I'd find a use for this Wojak, but I finally have. And as much as I like Black Panther, I don't think I could ever, in good conscience, really dive into this game without remembering that the lead writer is the second coming of Jim Crow. Hopefully EA restarts development on this game in the future with people who care more about doing the character justice and not spouting vitriol towards the people who would realistically make up the majority of the game's player base. Karina Betker, who is or was the voice actor for Paimon, has officially been let go by Hoyoverse. And if you can't tell by the crazy white woman's eyes, it was for some dumb shit. Basically, from the top, a bunch of workers were striking in order to pressure Hoyoverse to go union with SAG-AFTRA, which is a union that, among other things, protects voice actors from being training data and eventually replaced by AI. These strikes were fucking stupid because the state already had AI replacement rules in effect that they were protected by, and on top of that, Hoyoverse is a Chinese company, so joining an American union wouldn't make any damn sense. Like, imagine having to follow your neighbor's rules while in your own house completely alone. That's how stupid this was. Some voice actors started getting replaced with people who were actually willing to do their jobs, and Karina didn't like that very much, so she decided she was going to be a bitch to her co-workers, one of which was a Japanese dude who took the job because, number one, he already voiced the Japanese version of the character, and number two, he had kids to feed. And she cried in front of a toilet when people called her out for being a bitch to somebody who has kids to feed, and I haven't checked on her at all until today, when I saw that she had been let go. Good riddance, in my opinion. She had one job: sit in the chair, read the script, get paid, and she couldn't even do that. Fingers crossed that the next VA isn't as much of a train wreck as this one. And finally, D1 Schmeat writer Elon Musk has slammed President Trump's big beautiful bill on Twitter, calling it a disgusting abomination. And the weird thing about this story is that Trump has somehow managed to piss everyone off. Now, I'm not a Trump derangement syndrome sufferer, nor am I a redneck, but goddamn, this bill is hot ass. Elon hates it, Bernie Sanders hates it, I'm pretty sure Satan is shaking his head right now. According to whitehouse.gov, the bill is supposed to protect small business owners by giving people who engage in industry and take riskier financial decisions a reward. Unfortunately, it also cuts a metric fuck ton of social services, not just for EBT warriors with 7 baby mamas, but also older people who can't work as much, as well as giving more funding for deportations, more money on the nation's defense budget, which might have been a good thing if they weren't spending $150 billion on it. Holy shit. It seems like a lot of this bill is just his way of saying, get off your ass and do something, you lazy zoomers, which would be fine if you weren't also coincidentally cutting taxes for the rich as well as doing all of this. Now, I'm not stupid. I know that taxing the rich is basically just taxing all of us. You can't just only tax the rich, because where do you think the rich are getting their money? They're getting it from us. But the solution isn't to force the little people to pay while the rich people stack bread. You either get rid of all the taxes, which we can't do right now, or spread them out as evenly as possible. Good job pissing all of us off, Mr. President. That's all we've got time for in this video. I've been your host. Have a great day and a good night.
Yeah, come right now, come inside my mouth, ayy. Take off my blouse, ayy. Fuck me on the couch, ayy. Kiss on my neck got me wet. That big old dick on the bed. His dick is all like